Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Carrie Roldan Show, where we spend 30 minutes or so having conversations that matter to the entrepreneur's body, mind, and business. I'm your host, Carrie Roldan, and I am a wife, a mother, a runner, a best-selling author, a personal growth junkie who forgot to turn the notifications on her phone off, and your total business BFF. And I am known as the business BFF for good reason, you guys, because as a gifted intuitive, I can read between the lines and hear what you aren't saying. So we can quickly get to the heart of the matter, and you can create the aligned business that your soul aches for. My work consists of equal parts compassion, intuition, aligned business strategy, and marketing wizardry. And if that sounds like exactly what you need, head on over to carrieroldan.com/90-minute clarity to schedule a 90-minute clarity session with me. And that is the number 90 and the words minute clarity. So if you're on YouTube or listening to a podcast, all of this info is available in the show notes. You guys, I'm so excited to talk to my guest today. She's one of my all-time favorite Carrie Roldan Show guests. This may be her fourth or fifth appearance. I can't get enough of Rachel Archelaus. So let me read you her bio so that I can introduce her and informally introduce her, and we'll get into a juicy conversation today. So Rachel Archelaus is an internationally known spiritual teacher, artist, publisher, and business mentor. She works with the helpers and healers of the world who feel a calling to live their purpose and teaches them how to create a lucrative business based on their passions and talents. Rachel grew up seeing angels and talking with her spirit guides, so she's always known that there's more to this world than just death and taxes. Rachel's core teaching is to align with the higher self to manifest your desired life, because that's the part of us that creates our reality. Her approach may be far from mainstream, but her clients will tell you that it works. And it's sure right up my alley. So Rachel Archelaus, welcome to the Carrie Roldan Show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I love being here.
Yeah, I'm always so glad to have you. I always get excited to just dive in to whatever conversation comes up with us, because of all of the guests I have, I feel like the conversations with you take twists and turns I never expected, and they're always so deep, and no pressure here, right? But they're always so deep and go exactly where they are meant to go.
Sounds good to me, yeah.
Yeah, so the first question I ask almost everyone, but I'm especially curious about this question with you, is how you came to do what you do, right? And on this show, we talk a lot about the evolution of our businesses, and your business has evolved quite a bit since the last time you were here. So can you let us know how you came to do what you do, but specifically about the direction that you're headed?
Yeah, so, I love when people admit that they have no idea what they're doing, because I never have any idea of what I'm doing. It's honestly just listening and feeling and kind of plotting my way that way. I just listen for what feels good. I feel for what feels good. And because I'm alive and I'm on earth and I have experiences, I've racked up skills and talents, and I know what I like to do and I know what I don't like to do. And magically, all of that gets pieced together and creates a path for me, creates a business and clients and money and jobs and places to live. And, it's the more I take myself out of the equation and just kind of let go into my intuition and my higher self, the more interesting turns there are for me to live into, and the more I'm enjoying life. So I almost feel like I'm on vacation all the time, and I'm just letting life guide me into more beautiful places to see. And I know that is going to sound really out there and conceptual, but that's really honestly how I got here.
Okay, so I appreciate that about you saying, well, I love what you say about being on vacation all the time and letting life guide you. So how did life guide you to first becoming an entrepreneur in the first place? Because I didn't list, right? I read snippets of all of the things you do in this world, right? But Let me just look at the first sentence, right? An internationally known spiritual teacher, artist, publisher, and business mentor. So how did your life guide you to all of those places?
Well, it started when I was about 17. I always knew from that time that I really wanted to have a mobile business. I wanted to work for myself because I just felt inside of me that I really didn't want to have a boss my whole life. And I wanted to be able to call my own shots and travel and live where I want to live, and not be constrained by the things that most people seem to be constrained by, right? Like, I mean, I saw my parents going to work and not enjoying themselves, and all kinds of people living a life that wasn't fulfilling to them. And I just knew that in this world, there had to be a way to have everything, you know, to be a contributing member of society and make money and also be where you want to be, and feel good about what you're doing. And I was really scrappy. I was like always the one, you know, selling jewelry on the side of the road or lemonade or whatever. So I knew I could figure it out eventually. And it took me a long time to figure it out, don't get me wrong. I had my first online store at 17, but by no means was I living off of that. It really took until about, I guess, 6 years ago until I was making like a full-time income. But I wasn't full-time pursuing it that whole time. I went to college, you know, I got married, I did a whole lot of things. And then when I really decided, okay, I really want to see if I can do this. I really want to see if I can have my income be solely based on what I'm doing alone. That's when I got serious about it and learned what I needed to learn in order to sustain myself. So that's kind of the nutshell.
And so all this time, I love that, first of all. I think there's so many of us. Well, what I think is great, right, is I've actually, I think, have we known each other for 6 years? Maybe 5? Like, I feel like I've been around for a lot of the evolution of your business, which is so fun. It's so fun to know you personally and professionally and watch everything that you're doing. One of the things that is honestly most impressive about you, Rachel, that just continues to blow my mind. And I was listening to, shout out to Nicole Holland. I was listening to the Business Building Rockstars podcast this weekend. And she had a guest who I can't remember the guest name, but she was talking about the idea that busy people get things done. And what I find so interesting about you is that you are busy, but not in the classic sense of busy, right? When we think of a busy person, we often think of like someone who's frazzled or harried or has like this ridiculously full calendar. You're like the opposite of that. And yet you have so many things going on. And so I think my question is around that idea that you got to a full-time income 6 years ago, but at least from my perspective, you've been busy for the past 6 years, or you've had a lot going on for the past 6 years, and you've accomplished like shit tons, right? You've published books, you started a publishing company, you've got so many online products, you do personal coach, like Rachel's got a lot going on, and yet your life is so spacious, so full of time, and you are like one of the most easygoing people I've ever met. So I don't know, the question in there is like, how?
Yeah, so here's where this all intersects with, you know, seeing angels and talking to spirit guides and stuff and knowing that there's more. So basically, I feel we all have a big energetic part of us that we don't really see. And we're all connected. We're all connected to source and each other. And that's pretty apparent, right? Because some of us can, you know, figure out who's calling before we are ready, and we have thoughts that we have at the same time with our friends. And we've all experienced at least some part of being connected. And what that means is that we can leverage that bigger energetic part of us to do a whole lot of work for us. And so by keeping my vibration high, by feeling good, by knowing that all of that is possible, I'm allowing that part of myself to do a lot of my work, to do a lot of my marketing, my connecting, my networking, bringing people to me. I basically can act as a magnet. And if you know, I'm sure you're all familiar with law of attraction. I'm leveraging the law of attraction to bring things to me instead of me having to always figure out with my head how to go get stuff done. So I love thinking, I love strategizing, I love all of that stuff, but it's so much more fun to just do other things that make me happy, like go to the beach or go hiking or go to Hawaii, and let all that stuff happen in the background so that when I get home, things are waiting for me. So that's kind of, and also I love the word fulfilled, right? Isn't that what we all really want? We want a fulfilling life, which kind of checks all of our boxes, right? When you're fulfilled, it's like you're happy, you're contributing, you feel good about what you're doing, you're healthy. Well, full and filled are both in that word, right? So it's like we're supposed to have a full life, and it's just how we look at it. It's like, are we trying to make stuff happen? Are we efforting? Are we stressed? Or are we just leveraging our greater energy and having a really good time while a lot of things are filling themselves in?
All right. I'm wondering where I go from here, because I can literally feel the protest of some of people watching and listening, right? Which is, yeah, we know that it's important to keep our vibration high, but how? Like, how do we keep our vibration high and do all the things we need to do, right? Like, how do I keep my vibration high and take this to-do list in my business for this week, or, whatever you've got going on in your own business? How do because I can hear the argument is like, sure, I'd love to go to Hawaii, but I got bills to pay and stuff to do. So how do you reconcile that with yourself and with the people who you work with?
I love that. Yes, because your life, first of all, is going to look a lot different from mine. So maybe going to Hawaii is not in your alignment right now, but what you want to do isn't in mine. And so what we really just need to do in order for this to start working for us in a much bigger way is to go into each moment. And we've all heard this too, right? Like, I'm not saying anything new, but if we can find the moment that we're in, which sounds ridiculous because, of course, where else would we be? But if we're thinking about the to-do list, if we're thinking about the past or the future, we're not really present with where we are now. And if we want to access this bigger energy of ours, right? If we want to access how we're feeling, we have to be present. And so if you just think to yourself right now, okay, I want to be in the moment, and just let your energy settle for a second and like look around you and say, okay, I'm in the moment, things will start to look different. You'll start to really feel a little bit more in your body. And so once you've found the moment, you can figure out, what is it that I'm feeling called to do right now? And it could possibly be one of those things on your to-do list. I make lists too, and I go through them, and everything that I need to do gets done. But I only do what is in my highest excitement in that moment. And highest excitement could mean contentment. It could mean I just feel like doing it and there's not a lot of energy around it. But you just want to do what you're inspired to do in each moment, whether it's call a friend or take a walk or do your taxes. I like doing my taxes when it's time. So we need to stop putting things in different categories. Like, going on vacation and doing paperwork doesn't have to be on opposite sides of the spectrum. It's just do things when you're inspired to do them. I know a lot of people who hate to travel, right? The thought of getting to the airport, getting on a plane, going somewhere, checking in, getting a rental car, that sounds like torture to them. And they would much rather be at home typing something up on their computer. So we need to take the hypotheticals out. Whisk that all away. Just get present with what we have going on in our lives right now and allow ourselves back into the rhythm of being in the moment, because that's the only place we have any power. We can't change the past. We have no bearing over what the future is going to bring to us other than how we're feeling in this very moment. And so getting present is really the first step toward making all that juicy, fun stuff a reality. And it's a very, very practical way that unfolds. Like, you're still going to do your work. You're still going to go to your job if that's what you've got right now. until something else comes to you that replaces it. You don't have to solve all of the world's problems in your head right now in order for this to work for you. In fact, that is the opposite of how it would happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I've heard you use an acronym for that whole process, right? You said get present, and then sort of follow once you're present, you actually see the world differently, and then look at what's in front of you and choose your highest excitement. And I've heard you describe that. I'm part of a program Rachel offers called Sephoris, which is amazing. I actually think, oh my gosh, I have so many questions for you all of a sudden, but you've used the acronym ACE to describe that process. You want to just break that down for us?
Yeah, I'd love to. So ACE is just easy to remember. And what it stands for is awareness. So getting into the present awareness of where you are, how you're feeling, getting into the moment. C, which is choice. What are your choices in this moment? So like right now, I am in the moment. I'm with Carrie. I'm talking into my computer. I can see my face. And my choices right now are, let's see, I can drink my water. I could continue talking. I could go to the bathroom. I could go walk around outside. So once I get into the moment, I become aware of all the choices that I have. I just saw my snacks. I could eat a snack, right? So there's all these things, and they're kind of laying themselves out on like a meter, like most exciting, least exciting. And I honestly just feel into my body, well, what would I really like to do the best? And honestly, when I think about it, I would really love to talk to Carrie. So I think I'm going to keep talking to Carrie. And you can feel what is most calling to you. And it might not be what you think, but you'll feel it in your body. Like, I want to talk to Carrie. And oftentimes when you're assessing your choices, you'll just start to do the one that feels the best. It will be before your mind even chimes in. Just go with that. And then, of course, E, excitement. Choose the most exciting option. So choose what's calling you. So awareness, choice, excitement.
So what I love so much about that acronym ACE is the choice part, is because I think where people get hung up is like, well, using the Hawaii example, like, that's not a choice for me. I would really love to do it. It's not a choice for me right now, right? And so what I like, but it quickly, when you live this way, it quickly like becomes one of your choices. But I think that's so important, is that being aware of your present moment and your present choices. So we're not talking about like, if you could do, well, we will soon be talking about if you could do anything, right? But you can start small with like, in the moment, what are my choices? So it could be looking at your to-do list and getting present and assuming that those are your choices. What may occur to you, right, are more choices. Like, nope, I could take a nap. I could, like another choice may add itself to your list. I could go running. I could do yoga. I could sit here and watch Netflix for 3 hours. Not saying that's ever happened to me.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, so do I. That's what
I know.
I was pretending that hadn't happened to me. But that piece helped me so much to really ground this idea of living from the highest vibration in a way that my brain could wrap its head around. Like, my brain could be like, okay, I could look at the choices in this moment instead of having it be this like ethereal, out there, high vibration way. Does that make sense?
It does. And, I think one of the biggest things that we need to get past as people and entrepreneurs is that we're just not going to do anything. Right? Like, we think we're going to sabotage ourselves, and we think we're going to do all the wrong things. And we think that nothing's going to happen if we don't force ourselves to do things that we aren't comfortable doing, right? Like, isn't that the assumption of like why we need to effort so hard and come up with all these lists and stuff? It's like, if we had faith in ourselves that we're being guided into the work that feels good to us, right? Why are we creating a company? Why are we creating a business if we don't want to do it, right? If we don't like the work that we're doing, why are we even here listening to this? So we just got to relax and have more faith in ourselves that we really want to create a life we enjoy. And we're not going to create a life we enjoy by doing things we don't enjoy most of the time. It's really that simple. Whatever you're feeling in this very moment is what you're creating for the next moment. And so whatever you want to magnetize to you, feel it now. And everything will get done. Everything will get done if you focus on how you feel. Because your clients don't want to coach with you. They don't want to buy from you if you're not feeling good too, right? Like, it's just, we want to work with people who feel good and are happy.
Yeah. And I have to say, I'm so excited because you just said maybe 3 times, have faith in yourself, or you need to have faith. And that was the next, I have just, when my guests are talking, I'm just writing random things. And one of the words on my page was faith. And so that was what I wanted to ask you about, is where does faith come into this? And then I'm not gonna let you answer immediately, because I'm gonna tell you that for me, the hardest part of learning to live this way was having faith that it was going to be okay, that I could allow myself to take a nap and the world wouldn't end, that I could allow myself to watch Netflix for 3 hours, and that the mere act of doing that would bring an email from a potential client. Or like, it was very hard for me initially to have faith, right? My faith muscles were strengthened. Actually, when I first started living this way, every time I would go on vacation, money would come. So that was like a huge thing that would really help me build my faith muscles. But can you just talk a little bit more about that idea of faith?
Yes. And I love that. So when we're first starting to live this way, and we have been conditioned that it's only effort and hard work that brings things to us, we're pretty tight, right? We're pretty like worked up, and we're not relaxed at all. And so at the beginning of all of this, we often do need to do all that distracting stuff. Go on vacation, take a walk, take a nap, go to the beach for the day, watch Netflix for a few hours or weeks. And this is not to scare you, but I'm just telling you, because we need to open up and allow new things to come in, and we need to be a match to what we want. We have to be relaxed in order for the money to come in a new way, in an easier way, right? And so our instinct to go and not work is the one thing that is going to lead to this new way of being in ease and abundance. And so you're not feeling, I think a lot of people think that that is meaning like they're just going to sabotage themselves, but you're hearing your higher wisdom say to you, if you want this to work for you, if you want me to deliver the things that you've been asking for, you got to relax. You got to go have some fun, because that's ultimately what you're wanting, right? And so the faith is really trusting that inner guidance of like, this looks like the exact opposite of what I'm supposed to be doing right now. If my husband comes home or my wife comes home and sees me sitting on the couch not working, they're going to think lots of bad stuff about me. I need to prove to people that I'm really serious about this business, right? All these things go through our heads. But who knows better how to create what you're wanting? Is it your bigger energy that's connected to all that is and you and all the things you've asked for and, you know, every person on the planet? Is it that part of you, or God, or whatever you'd want to call it? Or is it your husband who goes to a job all the time and has never created a company or any kind of income other than someone giving them a paycheck and a bonus? Or is it the nanny who you're afraid is judging you because you're in there watching Netflix while the nanny's there watching your kid because you're supposed to be working? Like, we need to relax and trust and have faith in this inner guidance, whether you get there through your own intuition, from hearing things, from automatic writing, from intuitive art. However you get your guidance is fine. But if you have faith in that and trust in that and follow that, you will really quickly see that it's helping you shed resistance. It's helping you get into the right vibration for you to allow in the things that you're wanting to happen.
I'm just going to geek out for a minute on what's happening, because I had some intentions for this show. They were pretty open, right? But I had some intentions of like talking about some things I want to talk about with you and the things we're already talking about. I wrote the word faith on the page, and I thought, okay, for some reason I was supposed to ask Rachel about faith, right? And all of this was, right, as we're in this show, I'm practicing ACE, right? So I'm being present. I've got notes on my paper here. So these are my choices of my next questions. And I had already been like, even though I need to be fully present, right? I sort of like got these choices of where the interview can go. And then the choices to what's the path of my most excitement. And the next thing that I had circled on my page was intuitive art. And how interesting is it that when I asked you about faith, it led to intuitive art, right? I think that's such a great example of when you live this way, when you let your higher self guide, even if it doesn't make sense. Cause I was like thinking about the time and, but for some reason I want to ask her about faith. It went so beautifully into intuitive art and the other methods that you talk about. But I specifically want to talk about intuitive art because those of you those of you who watch and listen to the Carrie Rolled On show know my show is often sponsored by Rachel Archelaus's Intuitive Art, which you can learn about at carrierolledon.com/intuitive art. And it's been an amazing tool in my life, especially early on when I wasn't great at trusting. And even now, I'm super great at trusting, but even now when I want clarity or confirmation or more depth, intuitive art is like my go-to. So can you talk a little bit about what it is and how you created it?
I'd love to. Yeah. So when you're aligned and in the moment, right, all these synchronicities happen, and it reminds us that there's no linear time. Everything is really connected. So awesome. So yeah, intuitive art is just a way to have a conversation with your higher self. So intuition, we normally feel in the body, and it can feel like a yes, like a pulling in one direction, or like a no. And the problem that most people have in the beginning is that they don't trust it, right? They don't have faith in those feelings because there's no context. Your intuition isn't then just going to say like, oh, we'll go here because blah, blah, blah is there, and you're going to have a great conversation and they're going to offer you a job. It doesn't normally go that far. And sometimes when we even feel and have that context, we don't trust it, right? Because, oh, did I make that up? That sounded like me. I wonder if I just created that. And we get in this whole loop and then abandon and don't even go in the first place. So intuitive art is a way to have this conversation on paper and with our eyes closed. And it's really just scribbles. Anybody can do it, so that we can know that what information we're getting is really coming from our higher self. And we have more context and we can have a two-way conversation to figure out, why are you wanting me to go this way? Why are you wanting me to do this thing that feels really scary? But also, what is the best strategy for my business in this minute? And how can I best help this client? And anything that you would ask anybody, you can ask your higher self, because they are connected to all that is. And so I use it for everything, from personal, emotional stuff to relationship stuff to business stuff. And like Carrie said, it's really just a way to get more context and more clarity. And it's like your own magical fairy wizard guide that can talk to you and answer all your questions.
I love it. So if you want to know how to access your own magical fairy wizard guide, Rachel has a free intuitive art class. So when you go to carrierolledon.com/intuitive art, it will lead you to that class. It's 30 minutes that will be so helpful. She does a great job of explaining the process, but also if you set those 30 minutes aside, you'll start to, it's amazing. I use it all the time. I can't speak highly enough about it. And for me, it was intuitive art that really helped me begin to trust my higher self, begin to trust the guidance that was coming. Or like she's saying, I used it with clients when I was unsure of myself as a coach. I would use intuitive art and then go, oh, okay, yeah, it gave me validation. When I'm helping somebody else and it's kind of scary, it was so great. So Guys, if this is resonating with you, go there, carrieroldan.com/intuitive art. Okay, Rachel, we don't have a ton of time left. And the last place that I really want to go is talking about, so I want to go backwards a little bit, because you were talking about, how we just need to relax, right? And we need to be in that state of allowing and being in the vibration of where we want to end up, and not in the vibration of what we think will get us to where we want to end up. Which, by the way, that was sort of mind-blowing for me at first, understanding that I actually need to relax in the doing of whatever I need to do in order to get me where I want to go. I need to enjoy the process. And I'm sure a lot of people who were or are considered type A or achievers, I was always like, yeah, I'll relax once I get there. and recognizing that I'm never going to get there unless I relax on the way was huge for me. It actually helped me, being a runner, understanding, like muscular resistance. And if I'm tensing up, I'm going to be slower than if I am relaxed. So I had that going for me. But you and I had a conversation this week. So I am part of Rachel's Zephyrus program. And as being part of that program, I get some laser coaching with Rachel. And so this week I felt like I needed it. And I came to you, Rachel, and said, listen, I got these things on my list. How come I'm not doing them? I feel great. Everything's good. I'm super relaxed at like the money. Like I was like, everything's good. But I had this but, and I had a hard time articulating it until you walked me through a process. But it was recognizing that I was living at a high vibration, but not the vibration that I wanted, right? And Rachel walked me through a process where she helped me. First, she said, what's the highest vibration what's the best feeling that you can imagine? And I sort of described the feeling where I was, of feeling safe and relaxed and kind of on vacation, and like everything was wonderful and there's not a whole lot to do. And, we sat there for a little while, and then she asked me the most important question anybody's ever asked, at least in this moment. And that was, is that really the best feeling that you can think of? Is that really the best vibration you can conjure? And it had always seemed to me that was the best vibration. But in talking about it, a whole new vibration came to me, and it was a different place. It was a different state of being. There was still the relaxed component, but there was also that like life-giving juiciness, that excitement, that, it's, at least for me, it's the feeling of being of service, but it's not because I'm being of service to the other people. It's the feeling that I get inside when I was doing it. And you took me to a whole new level. Like you really changed me in those 15 minutes and helped me understand why I hadn't ticked off the things on my to-do list, why I hadn't completed those projects, is because I was living in a really high vibration, but not that like super juicy, fueled up place. So I don't even know what the question is, but you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I would love to. And first of all, you said this, so I just want to reiterate it, because vibration can sound like a weird word, but it just means feeling. How are you feeling? Are you feeling good? Are you feeling stressed? Are you feeling tense? Are you feeling magnificent? Are you feeling inspired? Right? It's just feeling. Like this is not weird stuff. Like this is just really simple, easy stuff. How are you feeling? That's what you're creating more of. And when we can go there, we can say, well, if what I'm feeling is what I'm creating, if that's the life I'm going to be leading in a few days or a few weeks or a year, well, I want to feel the best I can feel, right? Like, I know I can change how I feel. I know I can think about something and feel differently in my body. I know I can go for a walk or do another thing that I love to do and feel really good. So what is the best possible feeling I've ever had? And find what is the best feeling you've ever felt in your entire life. Maybe it's falling in love. Maybe it's speaking in front of people. Maybe it's being on a beach. What is the best feeling that you've ever felt? and then connect with it and actually get your body involved and go there mentally, physically, and feel that. And what will happen is like your to-do list will morph into things that will help you continue feeling like that. And it will also get more done for you because you're leveraging the power of your non-physical when you're doing things like this. So up your feeling, up your vibration, up your capacity, your output, your productivity, your abundance. It's all connected. And so it's really just as simple as choosing how you're feeling, finding the really good feelings like Carrie is talking about, and living there. Stay there. When you wake up in the morning, go to that feeling before you get out of bed. Ask yourself, how do I want to feel today? And how do I want to feel today? It's so simple. It's so easy. Keep doing it. Keep living there. Keep going there. And that is literally all you really need to do consciously and with effort to change everything. Because when you're doing that, everything else will come to you. All the ideas, the inspirations to make it happen in your real life, to bring the circumstances, the abundance that you're looking for. So, yeah.
So that was my last question, was around that. We know it to be true, but I think it's so, and you knew it to be true way before I did. But it's that notion that when I'm there, everything comes to me. And, or for you watching and listening, right? When you're there, everything comes to you. So that sounds, to a lot of people, too good to be true, sounds crazy, it could sound like a lot of things. And so I'm wondering if you could give us an example of what that looks like for yourself. Or I'm thinking of, I have a friend who's one of your clients who had something happen and it was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. And then within a week, I guess it was within a month, but anyways, the same thing happened to me. And it was like an impossible manifestation that totally happened. So do you have some concrete examples for us?
Well, it's kind of funny because, I say that everything comes to you when you're there, but really everything comes to you all the time. That doesn't change. It's just that what you want comes to you. We're reversing this idea that we have to go get anything with effort, with, thinking, with being unaligned. And that's just not how it works. Everything comes to us anyway. We're attractive beings, right? The law of attraction, everything comes to us based on our vibration. So while you're thinking blah, and you're feeling stressed, and you're feeling tense, and you're feeling worried, what do you create more of? The car doesn't work, and now I got to spend more money, and now the cat's sick, and that sucks, and everything's so expensive, so everything is so expensive, and I wish I could afford a vacation, but I can't, so you can't go on vacation. You create momentum around that lifestyle, and it just keeps happening and happening. And that's why we see, when we look outside of us, how many people are doing the same thing every single day, year after year, and just wondering why life feels so boring. Because they're not changing anything up, right? They're locked in because they're choosing not to change their attraction point, right? And so we notice when we go on vacation, different stuff comes to us, right? That's when you've made the money. That's a great concrete example. When we change how we feel, we change the stuff that comes to us. But we're doing that. That's how powerful we are. We have to change first before the circumstances will be different. Because if we don't, the same circumstances might come to us, but we're going to perceive it a whole lot differently. And we're going to, like the people who win the lottery, right? How many people who win the lottery don't really feel rich and abundant a year or two later, right? Because they haven't changed their attraction point. They're living the same momentum as they were before. The money didn't change anything. In fact, it probably brought them more stress because they were already stressed. And so we need to prepare for the things that we're wanting so that it actually does enhance our lives. So we have to enhance our lives first. Does that make sense?
Yes, so good. It reminds me of what I wrote down earlier. You said, if the idea of if what I'm feeling is what I'm creating, Do I want to feel this way in 3 days, in 3 weeks, in 3 months, in 3 years, etc.? And I heard it described another way, which really resonated with me at the time. So I'm going to say it another way. Hopefully those of you who are watching, listening, one of these ways will resonate with you. But my good friend Lisa Ingalls we were in a conversation, and she was explaining to me for the first time that really made sense, where she was like, the present, what you think is happening right now, is the past. Like everything that you see right in front of you is past. In the same way that, you learned in high school, right? The stars that you see in the sky may actually have already burned out and be dead and gone, because it takes so long for that light energy to get to where we can view it. This idea that whatever is happening in my current circumstances, in my current life, it feels like the present, but it's really just it's that light from the stars, right? It's showing up now because of how I was feeling, vibrating, intending, however you want to call it, 3 days ago, 3 minutes ago, 3 years ago, whatever the case may be. Just comments on that?
Yeah, totally right on. And it can help probably to feel that, if you don't like what you're looking at right now in your life, then just remember that, like, I don't have to worry about this. I already created it from my past. It's a fresh start every single moment to just feel how I want to feel and create new.
Okay, so this just came to me. Your favorite tips for getting out of that funk, right? If someone's in a funk where they're like, I know I created this 3 days ago, but it sucks and I can't help feeling sucky. What are your best tips for quickly shifting your vibration?
Do something really silly and ridiculous. Like if you're jumping up and down and like singing the chicken song, the chicken dance or whatever, like you're not going to be able to feel crappy. You're going to feel ridiculous and silly, and you're going to laugh at yourself. Put on your favorite dance music, go for a walk outside, call a friend that always makes you laugh. Like we all have so many things we could do that make us feel different and in a positive way. So just go to any of them. There's no good or bad with that. Just change your state, change your mood, and forget about whatever was making you feel down.
Yeah, and have faith, right? Know that doing that, even if it feels irresponsible, right? Even if there's a story in your head saying, this is irresponsible, this is whatever you're telling yourself, have faith that, right, in the bigger scheme of things, the right thing to do is to find something that feels better. Rachel Archelaus, I could talk to you forever. I just love you so much. I'm so grateful for the influence that you've been on my life. I'm so grateful for intuitive art and the ways that has helped me personally and professionally over the years. And I'm so grateful that you came to chat with my people today.
Thank you so much for having me. I love being here.
All right, you guys. Thank you again, Rachel. Thanks everybody who's watching and listening. To get Rachel's free intuitive art class, go to carrieroldan.com/intuitive art, and she will guide you through the process. And if you're in a place where you can click on or view the show notes, we'll have all other appropriate links to get in touch with me and Rachel. So thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Carrie Roldan Show.